to the first midweek tune-up. So this is your quick midweek calibration for real estate mindset, marketing, and marketing momentum. So Nate and I have decided to, outside of the AMAs we do, every Wednesday, 1 o'clock p.m., we're going to hop on here and kind of give you some updates as to what's working, answer questions. This one here is going to be based on when you join the free group, there's some questions that are asked, and we went and pulled all those questions down and looked for the similarities in those questions. And one of the things that we found out were these 4 key elements, which a lot of agents struggle with. So we are going to address those. So let me see real quick here. So one of the things, one of the challenges that we've seen a lot of agents have, especially nowadays, there's four key elements we've been seeing from these surveys that they've been answering. One, just illustrate this, is information overwhelm. Information overwhelm. So that's problem number one. Problem number two is, and we see this more than agents identify this, but agents are really busy, but they're not making money, or they're really busy and they're not productive. So number two is busy, not productive, or not making money. 3 is burnt out or inconsistent income, and or stuck watching other people win or other people getting results and they're not. And they're like, well, I'm busy doing things. Why not? So we'll start off with those 3 there. So inconsistent income, burnout, watching others. So going through number 1, information overload. There's so much information out there. Now Nate and I, we're heavy into AI. Nate's constantly sending me stuff. I'm sending him stuff. I get overloaded by a lot of it, and I call myself squirreling. And I'm not going to speak for you, Nate, but I'm assuming that there's a whole lot on your side too, where you're like, yeah, there's a lot of info.
Yeah, and there's always more. So it's very much. It can be overwhelming if you don't know how to prioritize and place everything in a control.
Yeah, exactly. So with information overload, knowing what works. So that's part of the key. So you're overloaded with information. There's so much stuff. We're sending you emails. NAR's sending you emails. Inman's sending you emails. You see this webinar. Your brokerage has this webinar. The key is, with information overload, just like Nate said, the solution for that is being able to prioritize. Being clear. So we're looking at the opposite of that. So if you have information overload, that's the problem. Possibility is you're clear, you're able to prioritize. You ignore information that's not going to help you now. That's another info. So that you're pulling in less information, or you're bucketing. That's one of the other things. That's another possibility, is being able to, I think Nate said, compartmentalize. Which I think a majority of agents multitask instead of compartmentalize. Now, with busy and not productive, Nate, we talk about that one a lot. What's the opposite of busy and not productive? If an agent's busy and not productive, they're struggling with that. They want to get to What does that look like for you when you're busy and not productive? What's it look like when you are productive?
Focused and productive. So you're not squirreling in 12 different directions. You're clear on the objective and you're making progress on that objective.
So you're organized.
Yes, sir.
You said organized, focused, replace. And structure. The opposite of busy and productive is you're focused, organized, you have systems in place, and you have structure so that keeps you productive, busy and productive, or just productive. Because doing more does not always equate to better outcome or more results. And Nate, we had a conversation around that one time where you had mentioned, I think it was, what you said, like one relationship changes it all or something.
Yeah, well, you've said that to me. You said variations of the whole little hinges swing big doors type of thing, man.
Yeah, exactly.
You gotta be able to focus on the details of the small stuff to be able to make meaningful progress on the big stuff.
Yes. Then we have inconsistent income and burnout. So if you're struggling with inconsistent income and burnout, now there are agents that are struggling with inconsistent income and burnout, and then there are agents that are focused on work that gets results. So we go back to that focus concept. Revenue generating activities. You're focusing on revenue generating activities. Let me see. Yeah, we can go down. And one of the main things is eliminating multitasking. And then actually that kind of goes through both of these. When you're talking about busy and productive, there's less multitasking. And that goes for both of these. Because when you're burnt out and you're doing a whole lot or you're doing the wrong things, instead of focusing, that's how overwhelm comes into play. So that actually falls across all three as the less multitasking. Because a lot of agents feel they have to multitask, and there's levels of multitasking. Yes, Nate's driving and talking, and that's multitasking. He wants to sit down and get focused so that he can really dive into the conversation. But there's levels to the multitasking where agents are doing everything themselves. What's some standard stuff that you see from your agents or agents that you've dealt with, Nate, from a multitasking that just doesn't, it's not suiting them?
Ads, like when they're trying to do ad research, trying to create follow-up content, and trying to manage the day-to-day business all at the same time. It's like you gotta break that up. You can't do all of that at the same time.
Yep. And that causes analysis paralysis too, which also structure that goes across all three of these. Now, with that, so coming back through here, we have information overload. They're busy and not productive, or they're inconsistent income, burnout, and paralysis by analysis, or they're watching other agents win. They're like, we're doing the same thing. Why are we not seeing the results they're getting? And we've got some similar stories of agents that we've watched. And part of that, actually, a majority of that is the main thing that we see is people executing on what we're talking about by having a system and executing. So we got the OFE, which is organize, focus, execute. I'll tell you a little more about that in a minute. But for the information overload, the key is to prioritize, be clear, know what to ignore. They say know what to say no to, and compartmentalize. Being busy and productive, you don't have to be busy and productive. You can be focused, you can be organized, you can have systems in place that help you stay focused and organized, and you can have more structure without even wanting to multitask because you're getting the results you're getting. And then with paralysis, analysis, inconsistent income, burnout, or just, call it what you want. We all have our judgmental times, or we'll look at somebody with some level of envy, like, well, I'm doing the same thing, or I'm smarter than them, but they're getting better results. Well, the other side of that is you get those results because you're focused. You're doing revenue generating activities and you're making that income. You're working less and not as hard, but you're making more money because you're focusing on those revenue generating activities. And the principles behind all of these, in order to get from the problem, which is what we mentioned here, information overload, busy and productive, inconsistent income, and burnout, or watching other folks win and you're still struggling, there's a bridge here. And the bridge are these basic principles. We've got in order to get from there to the place that the possibilities of being clear, knowing what you want, being able to know what to focus on and execute, stop multitasking, focusing on revenue generating activities, being clear on exactly what you want, where you're going, and having those systems in place. That bridge is you've got systems where you know exactly what to do it, why you're doing it, when you're doing it. So you've got clear systems, what you should be doing annually, quarterly, monthly, and daily. And you have something calendared out. So Nate, when you've run just willy-nilly, you're running all over the place, you got everything going, how effective is that versus when you sit down and reel it back to your systems?
Yeah. Well, when you're running in 5 different directions, you get sporadic wins, right? So it's not predictable. It's not predictable progress. It's just, hit or miss because you're doing everything random. But whenever you can really focus and drill down on one particular task at a time, then you make meaningful progress on whatever that task is, whether that's relationship building or market research or outreach to clients or follow up. Focusing on a specific task at a time allows you to make meaningful progress, which allows you to get closer to the money.
Getting closer to the money. And speaking of getting closer to the money, money loves speed. That's one of my favorite quotes. So I'm going to write that down here. Money loves speed. Can't draw speed. So, and that's one of the key things. And you notice Nate has said focus several times, but focus on the action and the execution. There's so many times, I'm sure you don't feel like it. Like, I don't feel like jumping on here and giving a presentation, or I don't feel like having this conversation, or I don't feel like following up or going to check on these ads. But you got to be able to separate those feelings. So get the feeling out the way, because that feeling, it consumes you. Nate, have you ever had that happen where you're focused on the feeling and you're like, it's just, instead of just acting? I know I have.
Absolutely. But yeah, but I remind myself that feelings aren't financial.
Yes. Feelings aren't financial. And when you have a system or a process that you know that you're just actively implementing, you focus on the action and execution. It's like, okay, I've got, by 10 o'clock in the morning, I've got probably about half a dozen non-negotiables that need to be executed on. So it's a matter of holding that space and that integrity with yourself to go do that. It's not like, what do I need to do? I know I need to do this. So if I don't, Nate's going to say something to me, or I'm going to see it in there, or somebody's going to say something to me like, wait a minute, this is not what you should be doing. So instead of going down, me and Nate call them rabbit holes, and we do this on occasion, especially when it comes to AI, because we do some gangster stuff with AI, but you got to pump the brakes, go back and look at the list, and go. You don't go down rabbit holes with stuff though, do you, Nate? You're super focused.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's going back to that when I talked about having that integrity with yourself. It's being able to hold yourself accountable, and others can too. Like there's some things where Nate and I will share back and forth, and he's like, nope, I'm not talking to you. I'm not going to call you until you do that. And likewise, like I'll send him messages. My fiance does that too. She'll send me messages, or we'll go back and forth, because having someone else hold you accountable, it's similar to, personal trainer. You don't want to get out the bed. You don't want to go to the gym, and you don't have to. So if there's nobody to hold you accountable, then, or if you're unable to hold yourself accountable, you're not going to do it. You might have the willpower. I have more willpower to go to the gym on my own without somebody. I've never hired a personal trainer to this day. I want to see what it's like. Versus, Nate, what was your experience with personal trainer versus you doing it yourself?
I lost 50 pounds. It was just me. I lost like 20.
Yeah. So holding yourself accountable, or having someone hold you accountable, whatever it is, that's one of the principles to get you out of all of these, out of these issues. So if you've got information overload, you hold yourself accountable. I have a set block of where I'm going to doom scroll. Or if you're super busy, or you're used to being super busy and productive and not getting anything done, okay, I'm going to focus on this one thing, these revenue generating activities. And I'm going to execute on what I said I would execute on. Same with the inconsistent income. There's a lot to unpack there, and burnout. But if you're burnt out and you're doing too much, you might say, well, I'm executing, but I'm burned out. If you're executing and you're burned out, you're executing the wrong things. So you need that clear, focused plan and system, and be clear on what you want in order to be able to execute that. Because we have some folks out there that are, I call bull in the china shop. Tell them what to do, they go. And I have on occasion, I have a tendency to be a bull in the china shop. But sometimes you have to be a focused bull that tiptoes through the china shop to get out the back door so you can be a bull again. But you can't do that until you know exactly what it is that you need to do, number one, and also clarity on where you are and where you're going. We're going to talk more about that in a second. And then once you have your marching orders, we talk about clarity. So you need to where you're going. And when we talk about a clear path to where you're going, what do I mean by that? So, Nate, we just meet. I'm a brand new agent. I'm not even a new agent. I'm an agent. I've been in the game for 5 years. And you're like, oh, so who do you serve? Well, I serve anybody. Whoever wants to buy or sell, that's my guy, or that's my girl, or that's my family. Because I can do it all. I can sell single family, I can sell land, I can sell commercial, and I can sell a $450 million mansion. I can sell it all. I'm a rock star. What's your response?
If you serve everybody, you actually serve nobody. So focus is the way that you're going to make progress. So anyone who says they're a master of all of it, they can't master the messaging to master that to get to everybody.
And it seems counterintuitive. they say jack of all trades, master of none. It seems counterintuitive to say, well, if I don't sell the land, I miss on an opportunity if it comes up. I want to sell, $300,000 townhomes or first time home buyers. But if somebody comes for a luxury home, I want to sell that. But also, somebody comes for a mobile home park and I want to sell that. Or somebody has a possible referral, I want to go over there and do that. Or fill in the blank. It seems counterintuitive, kind of like multitasking. You think the more you do, the more you get done. But that's actually the opposite. It's not. It's what's that rabbit analogy, Nate, you talked about that deals with this entire multitasking and that.
Yeah, the man who chases two rabbits, eats none.
Yes. And you guys have heard this. The riches are in the niches. The reason we focus primarily on a couple things, actually, but the main thing we focus on is new construction marketing. All of the marketing strategies that we teach and that we implement could be used for anything. It could be used to sell this water bottle. It can be used for foreclosures. It can be used for listings. You just have to adjust some things. We focus strictly on new construction. We don't focus on real estate marketing, although we can cover it all. And we may on occasion, we focus on new construction. Number one, there is nobody doing what we did since we've done. I don't think anybody has the results behind their systems like we do. And when I went from, hey, we'll show you how to generate leads for your real estate business, to we'll show you how to dominate new construction and generate leads and buyers for new construction, whatever price range, bell curve. Things went ballistic because we focused. And that's why you keep hearing us come back to focus. Gary Keller from Keller Williams. Everybody knows about Keller Williams. He wrote a book called The One Thing. And what's the one thing he said in that book? And in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, Nate?
What is the one thing that you can focus on getting done that makes all the other tasks easier or unnecessary? Focus on that one thing.
And you got to find out what that one thing is. So just trying to chase everything from being, let me sit on every webinar. We have some folks, I ain't gonna call y'all out, but we have some folks that are constantly like sending webinars to us and AI prompts and join this. And you have a whole lot of agents from talking to thousands of agents over the last 7-8 years. They're like, oh yeah, basically they're procrastinating. Procrastination is chocolate covered fear. You're afraid to move. You're afraid to do whatever it is. So you keep making excuses, AKA procrastination, to I got to learn more. I got to take this webinar. I gotta learn this AI prompt or this training I'm going to. We got to go to this live in-person event. And then I got to go to that one. And I got to talk to this person. And all the while, it's like that one person that has every degree in the world and ain't had a job in who knows how long, or their jobs are minimum wage jobs. But they're super smart, but they're afraid to move. They're afraid to actually go get a job in the career. They're afraid to get into their career. So the procrastination is, I'm gonna just keep learning and learning and learning. You know anybody like that, Nate?
Absolutely. I ain't gonna call them out though. I ain't gonna call them out.
I know a lot of people like that. Yeah, exactly. But there's a lot of people like that. And that's the thing. You have to execute. And that's where, and let me write this analogy down. O-F-E. It's organize, focus, execute. That right there is something that I had. I was meditating, praying on something, meditating, do a lot of mindset work so I can really be clear on like who I am and what I want. And that was something that came to me after I was going through, because I was struggling with some of these same things. I think everybody struggles with these on some degree, but I was looking through this and I was thinking about some of the clients. I'm like, what are the main factors that are causing this? It's organization. And this was for me too, because I'm not the most organized person. Now, if you look at me and you look at our trainings and stuff, you're like, you're super organized. I am to that extent, but there's always room for improvement. We're always trying to improve. Not always trying. We always are improving. But it's organize, focus, execute. Hold on, we had somebody pop in here. So we had Pat come on. Hey Pat, welcome aboard. We're just about to wrap it up, but you'll get access to the replay. Organize, focus, execute. So I want you to continue to remember that, because that's the plan. You want to be clear and have an organized method of doing the revenue generating activities, having the structure, whatever your goal is. The key is to get clear. Once you get clear, you need to be able to organize that, and that's part of the clarity. Focus on the right tasks. Focus on the right task at the right time. And, if we're looking to, let's say, do a listing presentation, if you spend all your time on the listing presentation up front and you spend all the time on, okay, I put a video together and now I want to put together a landing page for a mock-up property that I'll show these leads for the listing presentation when I go do it, and you're doing all this pre-work, and then you're like, yes, I got my listing presentation done. It's kind of out of order. Who are you going to show the listing presentation to? You need to get the actual presentation first. You need to find the expireds or have the people you're talking to that's sitting down have the appointment scheduled, and then go do that. Now, you can do all the work up front and hope and pray, but again, when we talked about procrastination is fear. We're going to do all those things because we're afraid to go out there and pick the phone up or go talk to the potential sellers or smile and dial or whatever it is you're doing to get your listing presentations. The main focus, revenue generating activity, should be go find some people that I can get in front of and have a conversation with. If you're looking at new construction, you can build out your funnels and have all this ideas and these cool tools and showing new and builder boost and do whatever else you need to do. But if you don't have the leads that are coming through that can go through those funnels, it's irrelevant. So it's about putting things in the right order. And the way that you do that, it's very simple. So first, you need to identify where you are. I am in Atlanta right now. Nate is in Fort Lauderdale. If wherever you are, if I say, okay, we're going to meet in Boise, Idaho, I want some potatoes, and you ask me how I'm going to get there, I have to know where I am first before I can get there. Because if you assume me and Nate aren't even in the same state or in the same place, Nate's guidance there is going to be different. So number one, we need to set the GPS. But when you set your GPS, the GPS knows where you are. You have to know where you are. So you got to be 100% honest with where you currently are in your business. Step number one. Once you identify that and you're clear and 100% transparent and truthful with yourself, next is, where do you want to go? And there's 3 levels where you want to go. I'm going to just keep coasting along what I'm doing now. Then I'm going to stretch myself a little bit because I'm not the person right now that I need to do the stretch to be that person. But that sounds good. I think I can do that. And you get clear on that. And then there's the whoa Nelly, like, that's almost impossible. But if you change who you were and you had clarity, you stopped multitasking, you stopped being busy just to be busy, but you were productive and you were generating revenue, your burnout was low, you had time to stop and think versus run. So instead of the bull in the china shop just trying to get to that goal, you're the bull tiptoeing through the china shop methodically and focused so that you can get to the other side and out the next door to the next thing. So you got to know where you are, where you want to go, and then the most important part, which is where the GPS comes in. How are you going to get there? You need a plan to get there. Like we just talked about, setting up all of these plans to make plans up front and then not executing all that, it's not helping you. You're the equivalent to a doctorate, PhD that is working at Target. We're gonna upgrade. I usually say Walmart. We're gonna upgrade a little bit. We're gonna say Target. So you're a glorified Target greeter, but you're the most educated person or the most prepared person in the world because you're not doing things in the right order and you're not focused and executing. So in order to get that clarity, you need to follow that process, and then you need to break things down into annually, quarterly, monthly, weekly, daily. What are the tasks that you need to do there? Another really effective strategy, the Pomodoro time blocking strategy. Set a 20, 30-minute timer, focus on one thing, just do that for that time. You can't do anything else, just that one thing. Step back, set a 5-minute timer, get up, go away from your wherever you are, step away, come back, do it again. After 4 times of doing that, you take a 20-minute break. Instead of the 5-minute break, you take a 20-minute break. You are guaranteed to at least 2 extra productivity just by that one strategy that I just mentioned. Now, the other thing that's really cool about when you're clear on what you want and the OFE strategy is you can knock out whatever your 5-year goals are. I've never set 5-year goals, but you can knock out a 5-year goal in 18 months following this strategy. Everything that I just mentioned, following the knowing where you are, where you want to go, how to get there, structure it quarterly or annually, quarterly, monthly, weekly, daily. And forgot this piece here. When we were in school, we had report cards. That's how we knew what we were doing. That's actually how our parents knew how we were doing. As we got to college, if we went to college or even at work, you have your performance reviews. That's saying this is how you're working. You, as an agent or even an entrepreneur, if you're listening to this, you need a adult report card, I call it, or your own personal review. But annually is not enough. Quarterly is not enough. Monthly isn't even enough because monthly allows you to get too far off task to reel yourself back in. So monthly, I used to do quarterly and monthly, and that didn't work. You actually need to do that weekly. So on a weekly basis, you need to know, how did I do last week versus did I get everything done? What's my opportunity for improvement? What am I going to do this week? Now, things change, but when you do that and it's not out of sight, out of mind, and it's so far gone, you'll be amazed at how quickly you get things done. And that's how you collapse 5 years down into a year to 18 months by that rigid process. Now, that sounds like a lot. And you can totally go do this. There's a book called The 12-Week Year. You can go read that. And that structure is a little different because they talk about quarterly reviews. I don't agree with that. Monthly, depending on your personality. With me, monthly didn't work. Quarterly didn't even work. So we work in sprints of weekly. Every week, go back. How did I do last week? And this is also the key in weekly. And this is why, because it's mental. We always look at what we don't have. Man, I don't have that mansion. Man, I don't have that listing. Man, I don't have that. But if you stop on a weekly basis and look at what you do have or what you did do, it's similar to gratitude. You can't be mad and have gratitude at the same time. So when you're reflecting back, there's this thing called the gap in the gain. We often focus on the gap. I'm not where I need to be. We don't look at how far we've come, which is the gain. That's what you're doing on your weekly adult report card. I should do mine on Sunday. How did I do last week? Did I accomplish what I said? Did I have the integrity with myself and do the things that I said I would do? Did I execute on most or not? And it's not a beat myself up. It's okay, well, I need to do better. So now I'm going to go wait and do that. And then even when you do that in a group setting, we have accountability calls on Fridays. I have 3 folks I got an accountability call with been going on 11 years. I've never in my life had an accountability call or even any call with any group of people longer than 2 years. We've been going on 11. Same three people. Folks have come and gone, but we keep each other accountable. So that's another thing. So this is a lot to unpack. We're already at like 40 minutes, and there's a lot to this. So this is how you need to look at 2026. Have it structured so that you are not overwhelmed, you are productive, you have consistent income, you don't feel burned out, and you're not watching other agents winning while you're sitting here like, what are they doing? They're not smarter than me. It's because they have a system and they're focused. If you need help with this whole process, I want to let you guys know that we can help you. Next week, we've got the Iconic Agent Life Architecting Clarity Workshop. Now, this is not something I created. I was a student of this. I've been doing this for about 5 years, gotten amazing results. I'll even talk about some of those results I've been getting since this. And it's not just business, it's life, period. We got way too much. We don't have enough time here for me to go through all that here, but I'll talk about that next Wednesday, November 12th through the 14th from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. So we're going to spend 12 hours together going through all of this. And if your first objection is, I don't have time to spend 12 hours, I can promise you this will be the most valuable 12 hours you probably spend in your life, if you're like most people, but at least this year. Because remember, if you're struggling with information overload, you're working, you're not making the money, you're busy, but you're not productive, you just realize something's missing, you're tired of watching other folks winning, and you're like, what are they doing? You'll get blinders on, be 100% clear, and we'll do this in a collaborative environment. It is all self-paced, but you will, if you can't attend virtually, I probably wouldn't even worry about it. Catch the next one next quarter. You're going to have to wait 3 months, but I wouldn't do it unless you can commit to spending at least half of the time each day in the Zoom with us, because it's interactive. I'll be talking to you. We'll be having conversations. You'll be having conversations with other agents. There is nothing like being in person, hands down. But the next best thing is collaborating with like-minded individuals in a setting where everybody's there to help each other win. And that's what we'll be doing on these Zooms. Was going to set a waiting list up, but I'm not. It's, if you go to the iconicagent.com/life, you can read all about it. It is normally, the last one we did were several hundred. This one is going to be $97. I understand agents have been struggling for the last year and a half, well, actually 2 years, because it's November, with all the stuff that's going on. So we want to be able to help out, but this is that important for you. If you know other agents that are like this, second off, this is not a goal planning workshop like you go through for your brokerage and all that. This is nothing like this. This is why we call it the Life Architecting Clarity Workshop, because it'll get you clear on not just business and career, but also life. And we'll be having in-depth conversations. We will be offering, it's not set up yet, it'll probably be set up over the weekend. We'll be offering there's 2 tiers. There's VIP. VIP, you get the replays, you get the recordings, you get to participate, you get to go through all 12 hours. We'll have a free tier if you're like, well, let me just see what this is about, because you're skeptical and see if it's for you. We have a free tier on day 1. Now, day 1 is where a majority of the paradigm shifts come in. So you'll get a little taste of it. You will not be able to participate. You will not get the replays unless you upgrade that day. If you upgrade that day, it'll be while we're on, it'll just be $97, and then you never skip the beat. Otherwise, you'll have to catch it again next year, basically. So head on over to the iconicagent.com/life. We will show you how to do all of this and break all this down. I know this was a lot. And it's really frustrating to have these challenges, but this is something that with the right structure, systems, and clarity, you can get through, and we'll help you with that. All right, guys. So we will see you again on the next midweek tune-up for your quick calibration for real estate mindset and marketing momentum. So next week, we actually have the life architecting workshop. So we will not have a session. The following one, we will. We got some really cool, it's probably going to be some AI trainings, and that's going to be interactive training. It'll be less of a presentation and more of a interactive Q&A, hands-on coaching, sharing some tips and value from there with whoever shows up. So we'll see you guys on the next one.